Hi there, Aquarius. Thank you for joining me for your year 2017 forecast. At the start of each year, there are planetary positions which create our solar return. The solar return for you this year is particularly sparkly, and the reason for that is that Venus, the planet of love and attraction, is in your sign. This is going to be a year where you encounter much more positivity about who you are as an individual. The world seems to be opening up to your message and what you have to say. And Venus being in this location could see you, in terms of your New Year's resolutions, keen to give yourself some kind of glamorous new makeover, or be much more progressive about your attitude to your romantic situation right throughout the year. But because Venus also rules money, your more inventive side can also point towards successes in terms of building up your resources. But there's more, because Mars, the power planet, is in your sector of resources as this year begins, but combines in a very powerful way with the Sun. When the Sun and Mars get together like this, it's going to provide you with lots of motivation, but also the assets in order to work patiently and sometimes behind the scenes in making your ideas and plans come to fruition. But imagination is going to be very important in the mix this year due to the role of Neptune. Now, Neptune, of course, was hugely influential last year and not necessarily always in the easiest of ways. It is going to continue to be this year because of its conjunction with Mars. And it does point towards being realistic at all times with marshalling the cash and the ideas and even the material goods that you own. Because Neptune at times can, of course, distort reality, particularly next to Mars, because Mars is about desires. So just stay clear-headed about finances all this year. Stay earth down and practical, which is part of your nature. But you're given a further boost because of the role of Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of expansion, and last August it moved back into your sister air sign of Libra for the first time in 12 years. But this for you is all about new horizons, about travel, about experiencing things in a new and fresh way. And Saturn at the start of this year is forging a brilliant link with Jupiter, and Jupiter and Saturn together are very complementary. Because if you think about it, Jupiter is about growth, but it's also in some ways about unbridled positivity. It is about good fortune, but Saturn's there anchoring it down, helping you to make some very shrewd long-term moves. But there's more than this, Aquarius, because Saturn's also forging a great link to Uranus. So your two co-rulers are cooperating, but through to the end of June 2017. This gives you the chance to have a long-term plan, but inch towards it in a progressive and sustainable way. It's not just about having a light bulb moment and then by the end of the next day realizing that there are various pitfalls. The things that you believe in and are being innovative about can change, but it's going to be more of an evolutionary process. There is a bit of a challenge in the first 2 months of this year, however, in that Uranus and Jupiter, ironically, are in opposition. So your ideas sector is going to be lit up by this, and you're going to be full of enthusiasm, but not everybody is going to be particularly receptive to what you have to say. But I think Saturn's going to be there to help you, and again will anchor that opposition just like it does Jupiter's over-exuberance. Now with the Sun angling brilliantly to Mars and Neptune, Venus in your own sign, the one planet I haven't told you about is the planet of communication, Mercury, and that is tracking backwards as the year begins in Capricorn. So you have the Sun, Mercury in retrograde, and also Pluto in this area. And I do feel that this year will continue to have quite a psychological component to it. And there may be times when you do wish to withdraw a little bit from other people, but you need to take that in your stride. Wonderfully for you, yes, you can be very gregarious and love being with folks and having fun, but you are actually often quite comfortable having some moments of tranquility and peace. But I feel that side of you does need to be carefully nurtured this year. And you do need to be aware that with Mercury retrograde in your 12th solar house, the potential for anxiety and isolating yourself is quite high. So just work hard at not letting your communication drop off too much. You still need to reach out to other people. However, there is a change of scene for Mars on the 26th of January. And the wonderful news is that he joins up with the Sun, which moves into your sign on the 21st. And I feel that's when you're really going to roar into life into this new year. But there's more than this, because on the 11th of February, there is a lunar eclipse in your opposite sign. Your relationships are going to be strongly influenced by this, but this lunar eclipse feeds brilliantly into that trio of influences of Saturn, Jupiter, and also Uranus. So I feel that your relationships, your partnerships, how you link with others can be very, very important in how you actualize you as an individual. So that's why it's important to, although you may have a very strong mindset about what you want to achieve in terms of your soul plans from the 26th of January, keep meshing in with others. It's going to be good for you and very nurturing. This brings us round to the solar eclipse, which occurs on the 26th of February, but this is in the sign of Pisces. If this rings a bell, it's because there was a lunar eclipse in this sector on the 16th of September last year. So this solar eclipse is the end of that period because eclipses work in pairs and they work progressively. So once more, Neptune's key to this. And Neptune is conjoining with this eclipse. So when it comes to your resources, imagination, sensitivity, and even empathy are going to be important in terms of how you make progress in the following 6 months. But you can see you have in the 7th house the lunar eclipse, and in the 2nd house you have the solar eclipse. 7th house relating, 2nd house resources. There just is no chance for you to go forwards this year in complete isolation. You have to link in with others. And some important partnerships can evolve over the following half year. Now on the 6th of April, Saturn, your traditional ruler, does slam on the brakes. And for 5.5 months is going to be treading water, and it won't go forwards until the 26th of August. It may seem during that period that some of your hopes are not going forwards quite at the rate that you would like, which understandably could seem quite frustrating. Also, from the middle of July to the middle of August, Pluto is clashing with Jupiter. So some big hope you've got may not seem to be coming towards you as quickly as you would like, which can ramp up the anxiety and almost see you try too hard to force the pace. Try to resist this, because across August and September there is a repetition of a great link between Jupiter and Saturn. And as long as you go at the right pace and have faith in the processes and of course in yourself and the talents that you have, that expansion will come for you. It just needs to be step by step. On the 7th of February, however, we have the standout moment of the whole year for you in terms of the eclipses, because it's in your sign. But furthermore, it's also forging an amazing link with Jupiter. When you get a first 9th house influence, there's something in your world that is bound to be transformed in the second half of this year. And I think it can see you going outside your comfort zone in a fairly radical way, in a way which may be hard to actually appreciate even at the start of the year, because your development and evolution are going to be going forwards right throughout the year. But once you get through to the 7th of August, that is going to give you the platform to really find an extra set of gears, and you're going to be moving forwards at some pace. And other people are going to be taking a lot more notice of what you have to say, your sheer personality and character, and that's going to be framed by the solar eclipse, which occurs on the 21st. Now that's forging a great link to your modern ruler, Uranus. So that quirky, unusual, quick-witted, funny side of your nature can become really in vogue in the second half of this year. Believe me, your popularity can rise, and as far as relationships are concerned, this could be super, because you're going to be networking a lot more and a lot more outgoing, I feel, than there can be some moments earlier in the year. This takes us through to Jupiter, and Jupiter makes a transition on the 11th of October into the part of your horoscope that's to do with how you link with the world at large. It moves into Scorpio. But before it says au revoir, it does, for about 6 weeks, go back into opposition with Uranus again. Don't worry about that, because if you are rocking the boat in some way with some of the changes you're going to make, I think by this time you're going to be enjoying being actually really different and just provoking some of the responses you get, because actually that bit of devilment gives you a real thrill. But I do feel that the progression you've been making with your ideas, which was slow but sure, really starts to gain much more energy in the last quarter. And people not only are going to like being with you in terms of your personality and charisma, they're going to like the ideas you have as well. And success is definitely out there for you in the last quarter. You've just got to go and seize it. Don't be too passive. People want to know what you've got to offer, so knock on those doors. And it can raise your profile hugely. Jupiter essentially is about risk. It's about positivity. It's about faith. So have faith in yourself. But then in the last month of this year, we do see another conjunction, but this time between Mercury, tracking backwards in the sign of Sagittarius, but alongside Saturn. There could be some friendships or one or two long-term hopes that are actually going to completely wither away at the very end of this year, and that may feel very, very sad. But actually it's because, Aquarius, other tracks and strands are evolving which are more relevant to the person you are now. But you may have to grieve some of these changes out. It won't necessarily be easy. But then Saturn arrives in your 12th solar house, where it will be for 2.5 years. Now, you've had a bit of a crash course in this part of your horoscope over the last 7 years because of the role of the tiny and transformational but psychological Pluto. And that's taught you so much, I feel you can be much less fearful of Saturn arriving in this sector. It's basically saying to you over the next 2.5 years, quite a few things that you started a long time ago that are still ongoing are actually going to come to a satisfactory conclusion. But you have to work through that 2.5 year period. And obviously I'll be telling you more about that in 2018's forecast. But that's it for this year. A new image, a time when you may need to have moments of reflection, where communication with others is going to be very important. No person is an island. You know that more than anyone else. You're the ace connector, the ace networker and friend. But there is that side of you that can draw in. Take the moments to do that, but keep working at reaching out. And in the second half of this year, the heavens are going to be reverberated with a superb opportunity for you to show just what makes you such a special and very unique person. It's been a real pleasure being with you. Thank you for joining me. You can tune into my channels for your weekly and monthly broadcasts each week. Thank you and goodbye.